I have to tell you guys, I don't know how much of this I'm supposed to say. I don't want to get anybody who I'm close to in trouble, but listen, this is all out there for you to see with your own two eyes. It's something that I realized and recognized, and so I'm going to talk about it because I think it's gross. So, as you all know, Krystal and Saagar just recently left the Hill. They're going independent. In my opinion, that's where they should have been all along. I mean, they always had the ability and the talent. You know, when you start something under the wing of a company, it could feel like you have more security. But, you know, if my dumbass could make it in this format, Krystal and Saagar obviously could make it in this format. So I'm very happy for them. Now, The Hill, which of course is the company where they did Rising, the corporation where they did their show Rising. The Hill YouTube channel pulled down Krystal and Saagar's farewell video after they left. So they only left it up for what, 2 days, 3 days, something like that, before they pulled it down. Now, I also happen to know that when Krystal and Saagar planned their exit, everything was relatively amicable, you could say, but they had everything organized and structured and ready to go, and there was a lot of thought and dedication that went into making some of these decisions. So they had the title for their video all set and ready to go. They had, you know, the order ready to go. So in other words, their exit video would be the first video of the day for that show, and it would be premiered. And of course, when a video is premiered, and when it's the first video, typically that video does very well. So they had their title ready, they had the video ready to premiere, and then behind the scenes, somebody decided, let's change the title to something incredibly vague that has no reference whatsoever about how Krystal and Saagar are leaving. The title was like, you know, Today on Rising or some shit. And they removed it from a premiere. Now, if I'm not mistaken, most of the time, if not every time they do a show, the first video is premiered. So they removed the video from premiere, made it a regular video, changed the title to something incredibly vague in general to make it sound like Krystal and Saagar weren't leaving. But it gets even worse. There were moments where they turned the comments off. And there were other moments where they turned the likes and dislikes off. So, listen, I don't know the specifics in terms of behind the scenes at corporate media, at The Hill, but there was obviously some sort of tug of war going on. And this doesn't take a genius to figure out. All you had to do was watch what was happening. Of course, I was watching every step of the way, and now, 2 days later, 3 days later, they pulled down their farewell video. So in other words, now they're trying to make it so if you tune into Rising and you see other hosts, you're like, okay, I don't know where Krystal and Saagar are. I guess they're just on vacation, taking a day off. Maybe they'll be back eventually. But I guess I should stay and watch the show. It's a very sleazy, underhanded attempt to try to dupe the audience into thinking that what just happened didn't really happen. But it gets even worse. They cut a brand new promo video for the show after Krystal and Saagar left. Now understand, Rising is Krystal and Saagar's baby. They came up with the idea. If they're leaving the Hill, the right thing for the Hill to do is very simple. The right thing for the Hill to do is to give them, you know, the send-off of royalty. Hey guys, we love you. Just so you know, you're irreplaceable. You built this amazing thing, this amazing show on this channel and made it what it is. It's never going to be the same without you. You know, here's a cake. We're going to miss you. And you know what? We're going to change the branding of the channel away from Rising with Krystal and Saagar. We're not going to have Rising anymore. We're going to change the name of the show and have a new show because we can't replicate what you guys did. You guys are unique. You're special. You're your own thing. Nobody can fill your shoes. It's not possible. Instead, like I said, they tried to bury the fact that they left, change the title on the video, change it from a premiere to a regular video, turn the comments off and on, and then cut a fucking promo the day after they left. The promo trying to say like, hey, don't go anywhere. Please don't go anywhere, audience. Don't go anywhere. Don't be mad. We're one of the top news shows on YouTube, and that's never going to change. Never going to change. It was Krystal and Saagar who made it the #1 show on YouTube. Now they're not there. What do you mean that's never going to change? By the way, in the promo, they put a lot of people in the video who definitely don't want to be in that video. They put Shoe on Head, for example. They put Matt Taibbi. They put a number of anti-establishment voices in the promo as if those people signed off on the fact that, yeah, Krystal and Saagar are leaving, but I want you to stick around and watch whatever the fuck else is going to, take the time slot at the Hill. Go talk to them. My guess is they wouldn't have that opinion. And by the way, they also threw in clowns like Madison Cawthorn in the video, which goes to show you that whoever's behind the scenes making the decisions now has no idea what the essence of the show Rising was. If you're putting Madison Cawthorn in the same video as Matt Taibbi and Shoe on Head as anti-establishment, you're not getting the gist of the show. You don't even understand the basics of the show. You don't get the framework of it. So listen, that's a sleazy, underhanded thing. Soon, right after they leave, you cut a promo for the new show, which is the same label. That's gross. Now I'm in a position, since Krystal and Saagar are out at the Hill, I'm in a position to tell you guys my experience in dealing with corporate media behind the scenes. So Krystal and I, of course, we started the podcast, Krystal, Kyle, and Friends. And, the idea behind it is very straightforward and very simple. I respect Krystal as an interviewer. I think she's phenomenal at it. I also respect the fact that she seemingly has created this lane for herself where she has one foot in the new media world and one foot in the official world, which sort of gives her access to a lot of very big name people in terms of interviewing. And so we got together. We decided to do a show. And, in many ways, it's a match made in heaven. And, but there were pressures behind the scenes that you guys didn't know about. So Krystal had gotten permission to do Krystal, Kyle, and Friends, and we had gotten permission to put the podcasts on YouTube. And any of you who are paid subs to our Substack, you pay $5 a month and you get the video on YouTube a day early. Everybody else gets access to the free audio a day later. But the first, was it the first or the first 2 or 3 or something, Krystal, Kyle, and Friends podcasts were free videos on YouTube. Well, even though Krystal had gotten permission to put it on YouTube, immediately after our premiere, the episode with Marianne Williamson, which did phenomenally well, by the way. I haven't checked the numbers now, but it's got to be over 300,000 views on that video. We were told that if we put the second episode on YouTube, there could be litigation. There was a lawsuit threatened. After Krystal had already gotten permission to put our show on YouTube, whoever's one of the higher-ups there took a look at the fact that we had a gigantic launch with over 300,000 views. And they did an about face and said, if you put that second video up there, there could be litigation. We might sue you. Now understand something. This is after I told an audience of hundreds of thousands of people who watched that inaugural episode. This is how it's going to work. Pay through the Substack, $5 a month. You get every video on YouTube. And then for people who don't pay, you get the audio version for free on any podcast platform. And you don't have to pay anything. It's just available. So after I told hundreds of thousands of people this is how it's going to work, there's a lawsuit threatened. If you put that second one up, we might come after you. Well, of course, panic sets in. And, everybody's losing their mind. And I'm a man of my word. I told you guys it's going on YouTube. So guess what? It's going on YouTube. I'm not going to let some nameless, faceless corporate douchebag determine what happens on my channel when I've never even had a conversation with any of the higher-ups at the Hill. Why would I let them control what I do? Now, does that put Krystal in a weird situation? Of course it does. But I'm the one who's making the decision. It's not Krystal. What are you going to do? Can't sue me. I'm not in any sort of contract with you. And if you go after her, it's not going to work because she didn't make the decision. I'm making the decision. So anyway, there was basically a standoff. And at the last minute, the higher-ups at the Hill backed down because I guess they knew that we weren't going to fold. And so we posted it, and nobody knew about any of that stuff behind the scenes. But it was a very tense moment. It was a very, very tense moment. And obviously, it was incredibly tumultuous for everybody involved, but definitely the most tumultuous for Krystal. But I haven't even gotten to what I think is the worst part yet. So again, Krystal and I get together, decide we're going to do this podcast. We're really excited for it. The format of the podcast is incredibly ambitious, the way we went about structuring it. Here's why. Guys, we know, Krystal and I know, the amount of money that people with similar public profiles make when they do their podcasts. And the bottom line is this. If we were to accept advertisers, we would get paid, son. We would get paid. And there's a variety of ways you can do advertisements. You could do the read-off advertisements, or you could do the traditional YouTube advertisements, which in my opinion are nowhere near as bad as the reading advertisements, because the YouTube advertisements, there's a buffer between you and the advertiser. So in other words, Google has a marketing team that deals with the advertisers, and I never have to talk to an advertiser ever. So I really don't have a problem in principle with the YouTube ads because I never have to talk to any of the advertisers, so there's no conflict of interest. I don't feel beholden to anybody on that front. But we decided, when it comes to Krystal, Kyle, and Friends, we're going to be unique. And we said, let's go all in on this idea of small dollar donations and small dollar subscribers. So not only did we forego YouTube advertisements, which again, I don't have a problem with in principle, but we did forego YouTube advertisements. We also decided we're going to forego all ads. So, in other words, the only way this thing works is if you guys like it enough and believe in it enough to pay the $5 a month to get the video a day early. The only way this works is if enough people think it's worth $5 a month to see the video of our podcasts. So, I'm not going to lie to you guys. We're making probably 25% of what we could make when it comes to the money with this podcast. But you know what? We made that decision. We don't care. We don't care because we believe in something above and beyond the ad model, because that's what new media and independent media is supposed to be all about. It's supposed to be about the people. It's supposed to be about regular folks. It's supposed to be about small dollar donations saying, hey, we believe in you guys, and so we'll pay the $5 for the video because, you know, this is how you decided to fund it in a more pure way. Well, guess what? After we already made that decision, what happened? Krystal was told after the fact, oh, by the way, you're not even allowed to acknowledge the existence of Krystal, Kyle, and Friends, your other podcast, when you're doing the show Rising on the Hill. We made the decision to take $0.00 in ad money. And then more than half of our potential reach is cut out. So understand, I don't know how many YouTube subs I had when we launched Krystal, Kyle, and Friends. 900,000, something like that. The Hill is in front of me. They have over 1 million subscribers, and I think they had more subscribers at the time that we launched. And only I'm allowed to talk to my audience to try to subscribe to Krystal, Kyle, and Friends. She's not even allowed to acknowledge its existence. So basically, the higher-ups in corporate media broke one of our legs and told us, hey, go run a marathon. That really pissed me off. And then to put the cherry on top, to show how dumb the higher-ups are, I was banned from Rising. I don't know if you guys have noticed this or anything, but I haven't been on Rising since Krystal, Kyle, and Friends has become a thing. That's because the higher-ups in corporate media at the Hill decided arbitrarily, well, now he's banned from coming on Rising. So that also shows they just don't know how this stuff works. They don't know that when it comes to new media, when it comes to independent media, it's not a zero-sum game. If you talk to others and they talk to you, it actually is good for everybody. They don't know that, or they don't care, or they're too fucking stupid But I think really the thing they're afraid of is what if he comes on Rising on the Hill and he pitches Krystal, Kyle, and Friends, the podcast, for people to sub on Substack. We can't have that. That made me absolutely furious. Absolutely furious. Imagine launching a podcast saying we're going to totally rely on the people, and then your access is restricted to more than half of the potential people who could sub. That, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly what dealing with corporate media is like. That's exactly what it's like. And I don't even have, I'm just telling my personal story in dealing with these vultures behind the scenes. I don't even have the direct stories that I'm sure Krystal and Saagar have of they cover an important story and then some corporate higher up gets a phone call from one of the donors that gives money to the Hill, one of the advertisers that gives money to the Hill, and then management turns around and says, you can't talk about X, Y, or Z because we're getting calls from people who give us money. I don't even have that degree of insight, that level of insight, because I wasn't as intimately involved with it. But what I do know is the very little that I was tangentially involved with corporate media, they're just as bad, if not worse, than you think they are. They're stupid, they're arrogant, they're restrictive, and they try to break your knee and tell you to go run a marathon. So anyway, this is my long way of saying, for the love of God, please, please, please support independent media however you can. Again, if you want to sub to Krystal, Kyle, and Friends, link is in the video description box. If you pay the $5 a month, you get the video. If you don't, it's okay because you still get the audio for free the next day. And of course, you get the short teaser clip of the video. But pay the $5 a month. It really helps us out on Substack. We made the decision to forego all ad money. We could be making way more money, but we decided to build something better and more pure. And corporate media punished us for that and cut off our access to more than half of the potential audience. So support independent media however you can, whether it's Krystal, Kyle, and Friends, whether it's Krystal and Saagar's new show, Breaking Points. Subscribe to them on YouTube, become a member. I'm not sure what their package is like in terms of the perks, but you could check that out and subscribe to them. They have a $10 a month option, and you get a bunch of stuff with that. Support independent media however you can, because the alternative is what I'm describing to you. These vicious, faceless corporate goons who try to use you as a puppet and control you in really nefarious and disgusting ways, and they undercut the hosts in every way imaginable. And that's exactly what my experience was like behind the scenes. So, listen, if you talk to Krystal, if you talk to Saagar, they might have a different view than me. You know, every single word that I'm speaking here is from me, Kyle Kulinski. It's got nothing to do with Saagar. It's got nothing to do with Krystal. They can tell you whatever they want to tell you in terms of their experience. Maybe they have a more balanced experience. I don't know. But what I do know is I can tell you exactly what went on behind the scenes with me. And I didn't like a single fucking thing about it. And it reminded me why I'm so much better off for being alone, for being independent, and for depending on you guys, the audience, instead of some gross chain of incompetent money changers. You know? They're useless. All they do is get in the way. Final thing. Did you guys know that Krystal had to beg in the early days for The Hill to allow her to put the show on YouTube? Krystal had to beg to allow The Hill to put the show Rising on YouTube. Imagine that. And then when later on, she had already gotten the green light to do Krystal, Kyle, and Friends and for us to put it on YouTube, after that first episode, when they threatened us, one of the higher-ups said, and I quote, "You're not allowed to put Krystal, Kyle, and Friends on YouTube. I own you on YouTube." They told her, you can put it there. It's fine. Then they saw how well it did. They did an about face, and said, you can't put it on YouTube. I own you on YouTube. Even though she had to beg to get it on YouTube in the first place. That is the perfect story. That's a microcosm of how terrible corporate media is. And, you know, if these people were intelligent, if they had any brain cells, they would have realized, no. Don't stab Krystal and Saagar in the back on the way out, because that might have consequences. And listen, what do you think it is when they change the title of the video, change the video from a premiere to a regular video, pull it down within 2 or 3 days, and then cut a promo and don't give them the send-off that they deserve, the send-off of royalty who really built that thing from the ground up? What did you expect was going to happen? What did you expect? You expect people weren't going to notice? Is that what you were expecting? Of course we noticed. Anybody who follows this stuff in and out, of course they were going to figure out the video got pulled down. People, unless they were behind the scenes, they wouldn't have known about the title. They would have known about the premiere, though, because usually these videos are premiered the first videos. It wasn't premiered. When you think people weren't going to notice when you turn the comments off and on, and when you turn the likes and dislikes off and on, you think they weren't going to notice the underhanded, disgusting, sleazy tricks in order to screw them on the way out the door? Of course they were going to fucking notice it, you dumbasses. Of course. And now you fucked up. Because somebody who's incapable of biting their tongue and has no filter saw it happen with his own 2 eyes and has my own little personal experiences. So here I am, letting it all out. Should have acted like decent human beings. Should have done the right thing. They didn't do the right thing. And now I'm pissed. And now I'm telling you guys. And you guys determine what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Now you have all the facts about what goes on in corporate media, what goes on behind the scenes. You can make your own mind up in terms of who deserves your attention and your eyeballs and your watch time and your small dollar support. But God, it fucking pisses me off. God, it pisses me off. Every time I think about how we launched this new podcast dependent on the people, dependent on small dollar donors, and on a whim, they said, by the way, you have no access to more than half of the potential audience. They're not even going to know your podcast exists. They're not even going to... She's not even allowed to mention it. God, that makes my blood boil, man. Man, that gets under my skin so much. Anyway, support independent media because this is the alternative.